What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the 182 News YouTube page. Appreciate you checking out this video. The last video I did was the top 3 blink-182 collectibles, and those were some heavy hitters. I mentioned in that video that those are essentially unobtainable, basically impossible to find. Even some of the most hardcore collectors don't have any of those. So I mentioned during that I was going to do a follow-up video with some of the realistic collectibles, and that's what this one is. So this is going to be my top 3 realistic blink-182 collectibles. These are pieces that do pop up fairly often, at least a few times a year at minimum. These are the pieces where if you're just getting into collecting, I would think these are ones that you should probably shoot for. In my opinion, these will take you from the minor leagues up to the big leagues. You'll get your call when you get these 3. But as I mentioned in the last one, it's okay, you got to start somewhere. I remember when I had absolutely nothing but a Mark Hoppus guitar pick, and I cherished it so much, I couldn't afford anything else. So just know that if you're just starting out, you got to start somewhere, and don't be discouraged if you can't find or get some of these pretty hardcore pieces. You'll be able to one day. So anyways, let's get into my top 3. These are ones that you should be able to find at some point if you're really looking, and if you've saved up a little bit of money to throw down on them when they become available. So coming in at number 3, I've got the original Cheshire Cat CD. Now you may say, well, that looks pretty common, right? Nope, because the 182 is missing. So most collectors will refer to this as the pre-182 Cheshire Cat release. This was the first version of it that came out. It's kind of hard to find, but it does pop up, I would say, 10 to 20 times a year for sure. You will definitely be able to get your hands on one of those if you're looking pretty hardcore for one. Coming in at number 2, this one has shot up in value quite a bit. This is the Cheshire Cat Red Eyes vinyl, and I get a lot of questions about these, about the different Cheshire Cat releases. I'm actually going to put together a video specific to the first Cheshire Cat releases because they're becoming more hard to find, and a lot of folks are super interested in picking them up. Now, right away, you should notice these look drastically different, and the reason that folks refer to it as the Red Eyes vinyl is because the eyes were changed to red, the border's different. This is the first press of Cheshire Cat. Now, a lot of folks get kind of confused. They would think that 182 wouldn't be there. Well, reason being, this album came out in 1995. That's why right here it just says Blink. They had to change their name later that year, and then this actually didn't come out until 1996. So yes, this is the first press. However, it did not come out the very first year of Cheshire Cat. So I'm going to do a video on some of those early releases. This has shot up in value. You used to be able to get this for 75 to 100 bucks. Nowadays, it's looking a lot higher than that. I will say, a lot of folks don't have any idea how many of these are out there. No clue. I've done a lot of research. I've reached out to a ton of folks on this. I would estimate there are no more than 1,500 of those that were pressed. And you have to remember that Blink was still up and coming at that time. They were still growing. They didn't have a ton of money, didn't have a huge budget. They were still just on grilled cheese, which was a subdivision of Cargo. So there weren't a ton of these pressed. I will note that sometimes you will see some with the corner cut off. Those were promo copies. So if you see the corner cut off here, or a lot of times in the early days, there would be a hole through the barcode. That would just let folks know that they can't be returned. They were promo copies sent out for free. So if somebody tries to return those, you don't have to give them a refund or anything because they didn't pay anything for it. I've got that at number 2. So if you're right on the verge of kind of hardcore collecting, I think if you pick up this, I'm like, yeah, they're trying, they're getting there. If you got that and this, yeah, I respect them. I respect them in their Blink collectible game, no doubt. And then coming in at number 1, if you've got this one, in my opinion, you're at least a pretty hardcore Blink collector, no doubt. That is the Short Bus vinyl. So this came out 1994. Again, this is what a lot of folks will call a pre-182 piece. They are just Blink at this point in time. This is a 7-inch, very rare. It does pop up probably 5 to 10 times a year at the most. But I think if you are patient, if you have money to throw down and jump on it as soon as you see it, I think you'll get one. This is a super rare piece. A lot of folks think there were 500 of those press. There were not. There were actually 1,000. That's not accurate on Discogs. That's something that I have kind of figured out through my research and conversations with those who actually made this piece. This is another one that I want to do a follow-up video on. I just haven't had a chance to do, because not only is the vinyl itself rare, you're going to pay a pretty penny for this, no doubt, but for some of the hardcore collectors, inside there is an insert. It's called the Message of Hope or Letter of Hope, and that increases the value to a lot of us collectors if it still has it. It's kind of rare to find. There are fakes of that, so be careful. So again, top 3, if you want to kind of take your collection to the next level, and I think, speaking on behalf of some of the hardcore Blink collectors, I think if you've got these 3, we look at your collection, you're like, all right, yeah, you're definitely trying pretty hardcore. It's respectable at that moment. Number 3, the OG Cheshire Cat Blink CD, pre-182, super sick, just a rad piece of history. At number 2, the Red Eyes Cheshire Cat vinyl, especially with vinyl's comeback. This wasn't pressed again until I think 2010. So that's part of what makes this such a cool piece, is it was the only vinyl for a long time. And, vinyl's huge again now, but for years, nobody even thought about vinyl. It was not even considered a medium that people wanted to buy or even pay attention to or collect. So it's really a special piece. And then coming in at number 1, we've got the Short Bus 7-inch vinyl. These used to sit on eBay for $200 forever. No one would buy them. Now, they're double that at minimum, even more than that, and folks jump on them as soon as they get listed. So you got to be ready. But those are the top 3. Curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know what your top 3 are. Let me know what you think about mine. Be sure to sub to the channel. If you dig Blink history, Blink collectibles, you're in the right spot. All right, talk soon, everybody. Peace.